Glyn Carpenter, faith and violence, they go hand in hand, don't they? I mean, the Bible, full of stories about violence and retribution.
Genocide.
Well, I was listening on Easter Friday to Ian Grant on radio, and he was saying that God's okay, but some of his mates are a bit dodgy. and I think there is this fact, and we simply have to own it. And going back to the interview, one of the points that I'd like to pick up on is this idea of avoiding words like good and bad doesn't help. Some things just simply have to be named as bad. And when this Terry Jones in America, Pastor Jones, he burned the Quran, we put out public statements, both ourselves in New Zealand and our international organisation, condemning those actions. What we didn't see was reciprocal statements coming from Muslim leaders about what took place afterwards. And both of the actions were bad.
So we don't see that enough from the Muslim community in your view?
That's not true. I mean, I saw there were statements by Muslims when the crowd went and executed the UN staff, and there was some shooting. They claimed there was shooting first, and I think that, and Joan was quite right, is that it's just a mob. It wasn't actually about, I don't think, it's religion. I think all that's North Africa and Middle East is always connected up as religion, good and bad.
But
I think
history,
it's economic.
culture, economics.
It's about a totalitarian states right across the thing. People just had enough. And actually, you know, it doesn't matter whether they're pro-Western or anti-Western, they're all totalitarian states, and people are just saying we've had enough.
We're not fighting for resources in Afghanistan, though, are we?
We're just there because we want to support the Americans' UTU, and the Taliban have never done any terrorism act outside or any acts of violence outside their own country. They see themselves as a struggle of national liberation to get the occupiers out. And we're occupying, and we celebrate the Anzac Day, when the last time we went to a Muslim country and got our butts kicked, and we celebrate that, and we're still doing it today.
That's
still going in where we're not invited and getting out.
It may be true to
kicked.
say that Taliban hasn't operated outside of Afghanistan, but the original justification was not just Taliban, but it was also Al-Qaeda.
No, it was solely Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
And where are they now?
12 of them.
Well, they certainly have committed actions outside. So I don't know that that's necessarily valid in that case.
John Johansson, politics and religion in New Zealand just don't mix, do they? I mean, we heard Tony Blair recently saying...
thank the cosmos for that.
Get labelled a nutter, he said.
Yeah, well,
if you even talk about it. You worked with Jim Anderton. I mean, he's a Catholic man, but he never talks about his faith. Why don't we talk about faith in politics?
Because we have education in New Zealand.
Exactly. Education is the big ticker here. But, like, you know, 200, 300 years before baby Jesus was born, you know, Aristotle said that the chief idea that underpinned a state was passionless reason. And unfortunately, through history, what religion has by and large shown us is, you know, based as it is on faith, and driven as it frequently is by emotion and other drivers, it's antithetical. It's antithetical to that idea.
Burning up about
These are not fair comments.
It's history, mate.
The fact is that Christians and religious leaders across the board, but we're talking here in New Zealand in terms of Christianity, because 3 years' time we commemorate 200 years of Christianity in this country. The arrival of the social welfare state was driven because of somebody's faith in politics. So to say that they don't mix, just because people don't articulate their religion...
I'm saying in formal structures, religion and politics do not mix, nor should they. Informal structures.
No, you simply can't avoid the fact that if I'm a Christian and I go into Parliament, I can't extricate my faith position.
Of course you
Whether
can.
I'm a Christian or an atheist or whatever I am, my belief system is a fundamental part of what I do.